Hello everybody and welcome to In My Mug. This week we're going to be visiting El Salvador, talking about leaf rust and drinking delicious, delicious coffee.
My name is Steve Layton and I travel the world finding amazing and delicious coffee for you to drink at home. Some make coffee difficult to understand and complicated, but here it's my job to make it easy and fun and tell you what's in my mug.
So this week's coffee is from Finca, Argentina, which is in El Salvador. The farm is broken down into small tablons or parcels of land, and this coffee comes from the very highest part of the farm. That's called San Jorge. Ali from Argentina was telling me that San Jorge used to be his grandfather's reserve that he used to pick for his own personal enjoyment. This is a sad story, but it's the very last time we're going to be able to taste this coffee. Last year when we visited Ali, San Jorge was the worst hit with leaf rust, and the Bourbon plants are just very old and finding it very difficult to fight the disease. So this is going to be the very, very last time that you're able to taste the Bourbon from San Jorge that infamously was the owner's selection. So let's now dive into the coffee, and I'm going to do some cupping. Cupping is how I get the descriptors for the bag, and this is something we're always doing here. And I've never really done so much on In My Mug, so it's been 4 minutes. I'm just going to break the crust, and I stir it 3 times. You can stir it 10 times if you like, as long as you stir everything 10 times every time you do it. I like 3, as it gives me just enough agitation to actually brew the coffee a little. And then what I'm doing now is I'm scraping off the top, the kind of crust that's formed. I'm going to get a little bit on a spoon like this, and I'm just going to now what I'm doing there is I'm slurping and covering the tongue, because if you cover the tongue you get all of the flavours over the tongue and you get a better descriptor. For me in the cup, this one, it's masses of milk chocolate, like heaps and heaps of it. But there's a really interesting acidity on the back end, which reminds me very much of like a malic acidity. Think like green apple. You know, you bite into a juicy Granny Smith and the juices go everywhere. And it kind of does that on the back end of it. It's a beautiful coffee. It really is like that quality thing of owner's selection is definitely there in the cup. Now, I talked briefly earlier about leaf rust, so let's go over to me to find out some more. Thanks, Studio Steve. So, leaf rust, or roya, has been the biggest single factor affecting coffee yields. And although it was originally a problem in Colombia, in recent years this has spread to Central America and more specifically El Salvador. The airborne fungus spore attacks the plant, making the leaves fall off. If a plant has fewer leaves, then it has a dramatic effect on the coffee production, because photosynthesis cannot occur, and the plant goes into shutdown mode, or even worse, it can die. Some of our producers saw a 90% drop when leaf rust first hit, and although things now seem to be getting a little better, the less coffee you grow, the more it costs you to harvest, the more you have to spend on fungicides to control the roya, the roaster has to pay more, and ultimately you at home have to pay more. So welcome to my green room. This is where the coffee arrives at the roastery. The coffee's shipped to us straight after being processed. Shelf life of these coffees tend to differ depending on lots of different factors, but we quality control the coffee all the time. We're tasting, making sure that it still tastes fresh. The coffee is 100% Bourbon, which I have some here, and that is 70% of the plant stock in El Salvador. This heirloom varietal is why the country is up there amongst some of the best coffees in the world. They have the perfect climate, the perfect conditions for this low-yielding, high-maintenance strain. Although it is a little bit more susceptible to the leaf rust that Dr. Steve told us about a few moments ago. The coffee is a washed processed coffee, and then it's dried in the sun on patios. So let's go through to the roastery with these green beans and let's work out what we're going to do with them. Come with me. So here we are at the roaster. This is a 60 kilo Probat. What we're going to do, we're going to roast it for around about 12 to 13 minutes because we're slowing down that roast a little bit. We want to bring out the sweetness and bring out all of that body. And the acidity's there, but we don't want it to be very dominant. And yeah, it's going to be coming out there fairly soon. So I'm joined by Sonali, who we're going to do some tasting. Say hello to the nice people, Sonali. So Sonali is our in-house trainer.
Yes.
And I don't like the term, but field worker.
Field person. Keep everyone happy.
Yes,
Yeah.
Basically relationship
Yeah.
manager, I
Yeah.
think, I like to think, for our wholesale customers. And you've made the coffees for us here
Yes.
today. So give us the recipe for the espresso that you've made.
So we did 18.7 grams in, 35 gram yield for about 32 seconds.
And would you that the kind of recipe you'd go for in El Salvador?
Yeah.
In general,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like a starting place.
Definitely.
You know, this coffee's new. We're still working with it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to dive in and try it.
Thank you.
So what have you been doing today? Because you haven't made these drinks, have you?
You just said I did.
You didn't know. We know the truth.
No, we got lovely people over there.
Yeah.
We have people from Bold Street, Luke from Dispatch, and a lovely barista from 6'8". They dialed it in. They're just doing service training right now, just learning how to actually apply their skills.
So it's
They've
like it's an
learned.
SCA
Yeah.
intermediate barista course that you're doing, and people at home can sign up to do it as well, can't
Yes, we've had loads of lovely retail customers as
Yeah.
well come
So-
to the foundation and intermediate.
they? Yeah, that's good. So the espresso, what's your thoughts? I mean, for me, I'm getting like a little bit of caramel. I'm getting lots of milk chocolate, and in
Definitely.
particular, I'm getting like that green apple acidity.
Definitely green apple.
This coffee has just been so consistent for so many years. It's almost like the descriptors write themselves, and it's amazing. Look, let's try the milk. Let's spilling milk everywhere. So for me, the green apple disappears a little bit of that, and the caramel comes up. You definitely get the milk chocolate still, but the caramel's definitely more in there with the milk as well.
Kind of like Werther's.
Yeah, Werther's Originals,
Yeah.
I like that. Just like Grandad used to give. Listen, Sonali, I know you're busy. I'm going to let you get back to your
you.
training, but thank you for the drinks and thank you for joining us. So I've been making a Chemex here. So we're going to pour the Chemex. It hasn't finished pouring, so this is absolutely excellent. I don't know quite how I do this, but I'm going to try and pour while the water still hasn't all gone through. Even though we're actually outside of the studio, it's still one take. So this is how I like to drink this coffee. I know the milk chocolate is going to be running through. And it's there. The milk chocolate is delicious. I'm also getting some white grape that I've not got in these drinks here. And it's just very easy drinking. And that white grape comes through. And on the back, something that I haven't seen in the other drinks or on the cupping table is there's a little bit of an orange acidity as well, which is really good. We were the first people in the UK to buy this coffee. We were the first people to be able to get it. And when I cupped it, it just blew my mind how good it is. I'm fairly sure that I can call Alejandro my best friend. I've spent a lot of time with him and his family. In fact, 2 years ago, I spent Christmas with them. He's been to Stafford 2 or 3 times now. He stayed with us for 3 weeks while we taught him how to roast. And he's a real he invests in the farm. He does lots of experiments, some of them more successful than others. But he's always open to feedback and he takes it on board and he tries to take those ideas forward. And I love the way that he's broken the farm into these separate tablons like San Jorge. We also have Finca 1, we have Garchapin, we have El Pillon, amazing. Listen, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the new format. I've actually enjoyed putting it together. It's been lots and lots of fun. 450 is a very big number of standing there in front of a camera going, hello everybody and welcome to my mug. So we thought it was time to shake it up a bit. But we'd love to hear your thoughts on what you think to the new format. And do remember, life is still too short for bad coffee. Or is it too bad for short coffee? I don't know. No, it's the first one.